Listen closely to the father reporting the incident to the 911 operator.
And what are you reporting?
She was in the car sleeping. She's unresponsive.
Okay. And who is she?
Please.
Who
My
is
daughter. My daughter. Please.
she?
To someone listening in, this might sound like a father's desperate cry for help.
And this was out in the driveway?
Yes.
Is she still breathing?
No, she's not breathing right now.
Okay, we need to start CPR right now.
Yes, we are. We're starting CPR, yes.
But pay attention to the tone of his voice.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Does this sound like a father who didn't know what was going on? And why were his explanations not adding up?
How long has it been? Half hour.
Father left her in the back seat of the family car for more than 3 hours.
Behind this 911 call is a disturbing secret.
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
As we show key moments captured in the body cam footage, ask yourself, does this look like a father who's crying because he's remorseful, or just crying because he got caught?
Oh my God, my nose!
But what really happened that day to cause such a tragedy? It was around 4 p.m. on July 9th, 2024, when his wife Erica Schultez, an anesthesiologist, arrived home in Marana, Arizona, and asked where her daughter, Parker, was. The father, Christopher Schultez, searched the house, room by room, but he couldn't find her anywhere. Then suddenly it hit him. She was still in the car. It turned out Christopher had forgotten their 2-year-old daughter in his vehicle parked in the driveway. He found her in the back seat, unresponsive. His wife then performed CPR as Christopher called 911. After the 911 call, a team of first responders soon arrived at the Schultez house in an attempt to save 2-year-old Parker. And in the process, more details were revealed about the state of the car.
The car's been on.
She was left in the car for 45 minutes, but it was said it was on.
Was the air conditioning on? Yes.
But I guess it turned off, right?
This is the body cam footage that's been released, revealing Christopher's shocked behavior. Here, we can see 37-year-old Christopher holding his head with both hands as the medical team tried to save 2-year-old Parker.
Please, baby. Please. Anything.
After the initial attempts to revive Parker, the medical team removed her from the house to take her to the hospital. But Erica, being a medical specialist herself, recognized the grim reality of the situation. Her baby was already gone.
She's dead. Like, I need to be with her when I come.
Oh my God, my nose! No! She's dead. We're nothing. Sir, we're doing the best we can.
This interaction took place at 4:30 p.m. according to the body cam footage. Right after, Christopher is seen with his hands on his head and pacing around. But what he would do next didn't sit right with viewers. See, instead of immediately following his wife to the hospital, Christopher stayed at the house, grabbing some ice and water from his fridge. This happened at 4:32 to 4:33 p.m., just 2 to 3 minutes after his wife had said she's dead. A team of police officers remained alongside him. Minutes later, he received a call from his wife asking him to come to the hospital.
She wants me to try and get her ride to the hospital.
However, the police officer had just one request before Christopher left.
Hey, we'll accommodate that for you, all right? We're just gonna need to get a statement from you about what happened, what's been going on.
The officer tried to make sure Christopher felt comfortable.
Obviously, I know this isn't easy for you, okay? It's not easy for anyone around right now. We're gonna keep you updated with everything we hear. Do you want to sit down somewhere? Where would you be most comfortable?
Sure, like...
You want me to refill this for you? Can I sit? Is that all right?
Comfortable enough to reveal what went wrong.
And what happened today?
Christopher stated that he and his daughter went out in the family's Acura MDX to run some errands. Upon returning home, he mentioned they arrived around the same time as his other 2 daughters, who were coming from a neighbor's house.
So we just came home. My daughters were at Elevate with my friend next door. They got home about 2:30 4:45 or so, and then we've just been hanging out at home.
So Christopher and Parker were in the car at this point. But what happened next? What was the reason his daughter was left behind in the car? Christopher told the officer Parker had fallen asleep in the car, and he decided not to wake her up to avoid disturbing her. He mentioned that he was aware of the car's automatic shutoff feature, which would turn off the engine after approximately 30 minutes of inactivity.
She was sleeping in the car, and I had the car on, but it has a sensor where every 30 minutes or so it'll turn off if you haven't moved. I swore she was in the house playing with her sisters like she always does. Just been right now, haven't been doing anything else really on the house.
Christopher then explained why the car was parked in the driveway.
We always park that car in the garage usually, but I just got a Peloton recently, and the Peloton is in the garage now, so that's why it's not even in the garage.
But since Parker was outside in the heat, this meant the duration could be deadly.
And how long was she sleeping in the car out there?
I want to say it was no more than 30, 45 minutes. And I don't think their air was off that entire time. I think there was a time in between. I had checked on her last, it was still running, she was still sleeping, and then when I went back out, the car was off.
Christopher made it clear that leaving his toddler in the car wasn't something he was in the habit of doing. In fact, he told the officer that this was the only time.
Well, we never do this anywhere, but I'm home, right? Like you're home, you're safe, your kids are home.
This was a crucial statement that would later come back to destroy him. Yes, something wasn't right. If everything Christopher said was true, that Parker hadn't been in the car for long, that he had checked on her, it's hard to explain how she died. Unless there was something missing in Christopher's statement. But what? What was Christopher hiding? The investigators began wondering if there was more to the story than Christopher was letting on. In fact, while questioning Christopher at the dining table, an officer noticed the Schultes' pet dog pacing outside in the summer heat, an eerie moment possibly showcasing repeated negligence. The dog can be seen panting, and at some point the dog walks towards the limited shade in the corner of the house. This prompted the officer to speak up.
Chris, your dogs, are they usually outside dogs?
But Christopher quickly denied this being a habit.
No, I just put them out for you guys.
Let's go ahead and get those inside.
After drinking water, asking to shower, and bringing his dog back into the house, it was finally time to head to the hospital, and it wasn't until then that Christopher realized the actual gravity of the situation he was now in.
Just to let you know, I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're gonna have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
After the officer informed him of their process, Christopher became defensive.
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay? I don't want to keep any secrets. I don't want to hide anything for you. Someone's going to talk to you about what happened, though. All right?
After that, they prepared to leave for the hospital. However, Christopher wanted to do one small thing, something seemingly normal, but could be damaging to the case.
Would it be all right? So we can't let you do that right now. We have to stand by with you. Okay? As soon as you can, we will let you know.
You can stay in the room if you want, but I'm not going to talk.
The police officers denied him as this could wash away any potential evidence related to the crime scene, and that seemed to bother Christopher.
I know this isn't easy for you, but the quicker we get this done and finish up, the sooner you can be with your wife. All right?
I'm trying to rinse off so I can go to the hospital to be with my wife.
We're not going to shower or anything right now. You need to stand by with us.
I don't understand why.
Okay?
But was Christopher playing dumb, or was he really devastated and shocked by their treatment?
Please.
I don't understand why.
I tried explaining that to you. We just need to stand by with you.
I'm standing by. Why can't I take a shower while you stand by? What is...
It's not necessary right now. Okay. I'm not going to stand here and watch you shower. There'll be time for that, but it's not right now, okay?
At 4:58 p.m., Parker was pronounced deceased. As for who is to blame for the senseless tragedy, well, after seeing the body cam footage from the scene, the public had a suggestion. I know people grieve differently, but the dad's reaction seemed off from the get-go. He nonchalantly grabs a drink of water and then wants to take a shower instead of rushing to the hospital to check on his daughter. He was more concerned about being investigated than anything else. His daughter just died because of him, and he's more concerned about taking a shower? No rush to be with his daughter, no rush to meet his wife at the hospital. This guy cares about one thing, himself. If I just lost a child, the last thing on my mind would be drinking water or taking a shower. And the internet's hunch was right. There was something off. During the next 2 days, investigators looked deeper into the incident.
Marana detectives are using anything to try and piece together what happened. For example, MPD is currently analyzing the car, the autopsy report, and interviewing neighbors, along with collecting any security camera or Ring doorbell footage they may have.
And new evidence was found, unraveling a much darker narrative. Detectives were granted a search warrant on the evening of the incident. Surveillance video from a neighbor revealed that contrary to Christopher's claim of returning home at around 2:45 p.m., he and Parker got back home about 2 hours earlier at 12:53 p.m. Parker was then left in the car until her mother, Erica, arrived home at 4:08 p.m. This means that Parker was trapped for over 3 hours in a parked car under direct sunlight with no air conditioning. On top of this, the western U.S., including Arizona, was experiencing a severe heat wave at the time.
So make sure you're staying heat safe this week. Limit your time outdoors, stay hydrated, and get into that AC.
The temperature in Marana during the time of the incident was around 109 degrees. To put this into context, Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Sheris Roth explained that she has treated dogs for a heat stroke at 70 degrees. And safety specialist Laura Dunn has seen injuries and death from hot cars when temperatures were as low as 57 degrees. Furthermore, according to various health and safety organizations, such as the AAP and the NHTSA, it is not recommended to leave a child in the car in temperatures above 70 degrees. The worst part, the 109 temperature wouldn't be the temperature in the car. With the aircon off, the heat rises even more, and rapidly. Experts say it would only take 20 minutes for the car to heat up to 140 degrees, and just 40 minutes to go as high as 150 degrees in the weather. That's double the unsafe temperature, far exceeding what experts consider dangerous. Detectives also spoke with Schultez's 2 other children, aged 9 and 5. But what information did the 2 children have about the horrifying incident? Well, let's just say things weren't looking good for Christopher. They claimed that their father got distracted by playing his game and putting his food away while Parker was still in the car. Adding credibility to their statement, the police report also noted that a black and white PlayStation 5 located in the TV stand was powered on at the time of the incident. The headset and controller were on the coffee table. Next to them, a half-empty Dr. Pepper can at room temperature. As the reports were made public, a wave of criticism erupted towards Christopher's poor parenting skills. Zero excuses here. He didn't want to disrupt his daughter's nap. He didn't want her to disrupt his video game. His priorities were very clear here. He was too lazy to wake her up, just so he wouldn't have to babysit. As a dad, I don't understand how people do this unless it's on purpose or narcotics, alcohol involved. I'm constantly hypervigilant and worried my toddler will get hurt in stupid ways. You'd think the fact he hasn't been interrupted should have raised some red flags. Not fit to be part of society. Some even went so far to equate his negligence to a homicide. This should be a manslaughter charge at the very least. It's not an accident, it's not a mistake. They know the risks and they do not care. As the investigation went on, the police also seized Christopher's cell phone, hoping to find more clues about the incident. And what secrets were uncovered from this device? Well, a series of text messages between Christopher and his wife exchanged at the time Parker was being rushed to the hospital definitely sparked interest. A text from his wife said, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" "Babe, I'm sorry," Christopher texted, apologizing. "We've lost her. She was perfect," his wife said in another text. "How could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real," responded Christopher. In the morning of July 12, police arrested Christopher and he was booked for second-degree murder and child abuse, according to the Marana Police Department.
Now for what's trending in true crime, a 37-year-old father of 3 is charged with second-degree murder for leaving his 2-year-old in a hot car.
In the body cam footage released by the Marana police, we can see Christopher break down at his door.
So remember how we talked about the investigation and things that would transpire? Okay. And I told you I'm always going to tell you guys the truth. There's no secrets here, right? So based off of our investigation at this point, right, we have determined that there's probable cause to go ahead and charge you for what happened. Okay.
Let's come out here, Christopher.
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
No. Okay. So, listen. No.
The officer told Christopher he would be taken into custody, booked, and have an initial court appearance within 24 hours.
After the first 24 hours, right, the judge will determine bond and things like that as far as what happens next. At that point, the case goes to the courts. It'll be between you, it'll be between your attorneys, and it'll be between the county prosecutor.
The officers then escorted him out of his home, along with his wife Erica, comforting him by soothing his back.
So, again, I can't change the consequences of what happened, all right? But what I'm going to ask of you... Okay.
Could I just have you stand up for me, please? Come on, Chris. Let's go out here. Can you grab him some shoes, please? No, come on, Christopher. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not everyone was as overwhelmed as Christopher after learning of his arrest. In the body cam footage, we can see different reactions from the two family members when the police officer talked to Erica and what appears to be his mother-in-law.
The funeral is Friday. No heart. No heart at all.
You go with
Yeah.
the normal conversation.
Yeah.
So, I know there's a lot going on and I know you're angry. And it's okay to be angry, okay? As an arresting officer, I can't change the law.
I know. But seriously? His daughter, he's suffering.
I know.
The funeral.
He knows.
I know. I know he's feeling the guilt. I know he's feeling anguish. I can't change the law, okay?
The officer explained the process again to Erica and her mother, managing to calm her down.
Obviously,
I understand you're just
I
a
know.
messenger.
And it's okay for you to be angry at me. I'm not offended. Like, it's okay to vent your frustration. But just, I want you guys to understand that this has to take place. This is something that has to go forward.
And so the legal processing began with Christopher appearing before a judge the next morning. The prosecutor pressed for second-degree charges, arguing that Christopher's initial statement was misleading and that he had such a pattern of negligence with regard to children.
Of most concern to the state in the interim complaint is the lack of truth-telling by the defendant when interviewed by the police. That was quickly contradicted by police, as well as his awareness of not only the timing that the car would shut off, but the text messages between him and his wife indicating that there was an awareness that this was an issue long before this happened.
But are these charges appropriate for a father who lost his daughter because of an alleged mistake? Well, according to Arizona law, under ARS Section 13-1104, a person is convicted with a second-degree murder charge if they engage in reckless action that show extreme disregard or indifference to human life, or pose a severe risk of death to another person. Here, reckless actions refers to instances where someone is aware of the potential for danger, yet chooses to ignore the risk. In Christopher's case, this could be applied to leaving a child unattended in a vehicle, especially in extreme weather conditions. This is a Class 1 felony, and if proven guilty, the person can face up to 25 years in prison. Still, Christopher had one person in his corner. During Christopher's court appearance, his wife Erica also spoke up, making a plea to the judge. But what could she say to advocate for her husband?
I just wanted to say that no one understands how great of a tragedy this is more than myself, my girls, my remaining 2 daughters, and Christopher. So not only do we have to move forward with grieving for my daughter, but we potentially could be losing their father. So the absolute worst case scenario for our family is if Chris would be away from us. We're already hurting. No one else shares this bond and this trauma like all of us, all 4 of us. I know the significance of the tragedy, and I don't want you to think for a second that I underestimate the impact that it has on our lives, on everyone's lives, or that I'm undermining your concerns about the safety of those in our household. So I'm just asking if you can allow him to come home to us so we can all start the grieving process so that he can bury our daughter with us this upcoming week, and that we can go through this whole process together as a family.
She then further defended Christopher and called her daughter's death a big mistake.
He's an amazing father. He's a pillar of our community. He's been a coach for young kids. He's taken them to school every day. He's been the main caregiver. I work many hours, so they're all that he sees. This was a big mistake, and I think that this doesn't represent him. And I just want the girls to see their father so that I don't have to tell them tonight that they're going to endure another loss.
Considering Erica's plea, Christopher's clean criminal record, and the low likelihood of a similar offense occurring again anytime soon, the judge agreed to release him from custody until his hearing next month so he could be with the family in this difficult time. Nonetheless, public sentiment remained overwhelmingly critical, this time targeting Erica just as much as her husband.
You leave my baby in the car one time, and I'm gonna do something nasty to you. Nasty. And for you to feel like having to continue to remind your husband to not leave your baby in the car when y'all live in Arizona when 120 is a cold day. I'm telling you right now, it's not an accident. They didn't forget. That is intentional. I want you to suffer. I want you to feel bad.
She's pleading for her husband when video games were more important to him than their baby? He's an amazing father? Really? He left her in the car for not 30 minutes, but for hours. The bar is on the floor. She's one of those women who put men above her children. That poor baby girl deserved better parents. That wasn't the first time he left the child in the car. Get real. Allow him to come home so he can put the other 2 children in danger? I don't understand how she could stand the sight of him. CPS needs to investigate her because she admitted to knowing he does this often. However, a few legal voices were in support of Erica's plea and disagreed with the second-degree murder charges. This includes criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Mark O'Mara.
No question what he did was, quote, wrong. But we also know that this was stupidity and reckless. That's the way they charged him, and that's what really happened. So yes, we can look back the text messages, the idiocy of leaving your children, but it's almost as mitigating as it is aggravating, isn't it? The fact that everyone plays video games today, and everyone gets caught up on whatever is in front of them in the screen and not focusing on their children. Unfortunately, this guy's not the only guy guilty of that. We do that across the board. Matter of fact, we now know that iPads are the new babysitters. So I'm not giving this guy a pass because he had the responsibility of his 2-year-old. But the harsh reality is, yes, as I said a moment ago, this keeps happening. It just keeps occurring. And it is not an intentional act. It's not even, in my opinion, necessarily grossly negligent under Arizona's second-degree statute. It's horribly sad, and we need a more systemic response to it.
However, more disturbing details began to emerge in the following weeks, and things only continued to get worse for Christopher. Among the new information that surfaced was an interview conducted by News 4 Tucson investigators with Parker's half-sister, Christopher's 16-year-old daughter from a previous marriage. Talking about the tragedy, she told the investigators that Christopher had engaged in a similar pattern of behavior with her as a kid. She claimed that her father had left her unattended in a car on multiple occasions.
First time he did it was with me when I was younger than 7.
Talking about Parker's death, she said,
"It makes plenty of sense. I'm surprised that it didn't happen sooner. I had to go sit out in the car for 4 to 5 hours and continuously had to restart the car. I'd only eaten once that day."
She also told the investigators that after her parents' divorce, she was forced to live with Christopher and his wife for 4 years. She said it was extremely difficult for her, and she even tried to take her own life because she disliked living with her father. After the incident, CPS got involved and Christopher lost custody of her. As a result, she went to live with her mother. She believes Parker's death could have been avoided. If they, CPS, would have taken away my little sisters when I was taken away, none of this would have happened. I haven't been eating, I haven't been sleeping. All I think about is how my father's walking free right now. After all, if the 16-year-old's claims were to be believed, no child was safe in Christopher's care. And as it turned out, she wasn't the only one of Christopher's children making statements that suggested this.
200 pages of court documents revealing Schultez's other 2 daughters told police this was a pattern.
Yes, one of the other Schultez's daughters said that her father had also left her in the car sleeping when she was a little baby, when she was a toddler, and when she was 4, and when she was turning 5. She alleged that her father had done this to them 59 times. During forensic interviews, she also claimed that the family members had instructed her to provide a positive account of her father, such as saying Christopher was a good father and that Parker's death was just an accident. The police report further contradicted Christopher's original claim regarding the car's automatic shut-off feature. Despite Christopher initially stating the car would turn off after 30 minutes of inactivity, investigations revealed that it actually shut down after only 20 minutes. And while they were not able to confirm if the car was running when Parker was inside, during the interviews, one of the Schultes' children stated that the car was off when they were taken inside. The documents also included more text messages between Christopher and Erica. In one of these messages from March 11th, Erica said, "You haven't shown you can stop putting the girls in danger or treating me badly. Even yesterday you drove home drunk with 2 minors. You drink to excess every time. I have been asking for 3 years for you to cut back, but it's actually gotten worse." In another message sent on March 21st, she said, "Why were you going 138 with our baby in the car with alcohol in your system?" To which Christopher responded, "You hate me. She was sleeping. It's fine." These new details not only portray Christopher as a seriously irresponsible parent, but also exposes a long-standing pattern of reckless behavior towards his children, which his wife has repeatedly confronted. And then came the final nail in the coffin: video footage.
Investigators were able to obtain surveillance video from July 9th, the day Schultes' daughter died, creating a timeline of what he was doing before they arrived home. They determined he was inside a local grocery store prior, without his children with him, likely leaving them in the car. Before returning to the home, he stopped at a gas station, walked inside, and was seen on video entering the restroom with a case of beer. He walked out, beer in hand, never purchasing the items. It's unknown if he was intoxicated when he returned home.
The already minimal public sympathy evaporated as the new information came out, revelations that were certain to complicate things for him in court. On August 1st, Christopher appeared in court again before a grand jury. Despite his attorney's insistent defense and his wife's support, the proceedings were clearly escalating against him. But how bad could it really get?
Police originally charged Schultes with second-degree murder, but a grand jury came back with first-degree murder and child abuse.
Though the new charges may appear unexpected or even unnecessary to many, according to Arizona's felony murder rule, an unintentional killing, the hot car death, that occurs while committing another felon, child abuse, can qualify as first-degree murder. Still, it's important to know that the potential penalties for such instances can vary depending on the circumstances of each case. It can be helpful to look back at previous incidents to better understand the broader context of Christopher Schultes' case. See, Parker's death, unfortunately, is not an isolated incident.
Child found dead after being left in a hot car.
On Tuesday, a 2-year-old child died in Holmes County after being left in a car for at least 14 hours.
In Corpus Christi, a toddler has died after being left in a hot car.
The death of an 8-week-old infant who went into cardiac arrest after being left in a hot vehicle in Ocean County, New Jersey.
According to reports by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, about 40 children on average die each year from heat stroke in a car. 2 notable cases in recent years with some similarities to Christopher's situation are the Justin Ross Harris and Cynthia Marie Randolph cases. The Justin Ross Harris case was a highly publicized case that took place in June 2014 in Georgia. The father, Justin, left his 22-month-old son Cooper in the car for 7 hours before going to work. He claimed he accidentally forgot to drop Cooper off at daycare. However, prosecutors argued it was a deliberate act, citing Harris's troubled marriage, extramarital affairs, and internet searches about hot car deaths. Justin was convicted of first-degree murder in 2016 and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Meanwhile, the Cynthia Marie Randolph case took place in May 2017 in Texas. The mother, Cynthia, intentionally left her 2 children, 2-year-old Juliet and 16-month-old Kavanaugh, in a hot car as punishment after they refused to get out. Cynthia then went inside to get high and take a nap. 2 to 3 hours later, when she later found her children unresponsive, she staged a scene to appear accidental. Cynthia was arrested and convicted of 2 counts of felony murder and reckless injury to a child, receiving a 20-year prison sentence. So you see, based on Justin's internet search about hot car deaths, he intentionally planned to murder. Meanwhile, Cynthia wanted to punish her child without intending to end their lives. Given the various outcomes in these cases, did Christopher Schultes deserve a first-degree murder verdict? Well, according to the grand jury, there was reason to upgrade the charges, and that came down to the evidence we discussed earlier. Yes, the text messages between Christopher and Erica, the recountings from the 2 remaining Schultes daughters, and the allegations made from Parker's half-sister, combined with Parker's incident, all seem to indicate a pattern of negligence and ultimately child abuse. And most of the public were on board. May justice be done. Lock him up, please. I hope he gets life with no parole. Lock him up for life. But what did Christopher have to say for himself? He pleaded not guilty.
The man in court today didn't say anything other than acknowledging he understands the charges and he and his attorney are entering a not guilty plea.
While the case is still in court, the current evidence leans heavily towards a guilty outcome, which in Arizona, a first-degree murder charge can result in one of 2 things. 1, spending the rest of their life in prison, 2. Life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. This could mean his remaining children have to grow up without a father figure. So when asked if Christopher deserves such a charge, well, let's put it this way. If he remains reckless and negligent, was he ever a present father figure to begin with? As the legal proceedings continue, questions still remain unanswered. Was Christopher actually intoxicated at the time of the incident? Did Erica know more than she let on? More details will certainly emerge, and only time will tell if this case can get any worse. But more importantly, this incident serves as a reminder of just how dangerous negligence can be, especially in a moment of selfishness. While you're here, check out our other videos about parents who didn't deserve their child, and consider subscribing to stay updated.